Welcome back. In this short lesson, I want to discuss the idea of a nil channel. Okay, so a nil channel, the nil is simply the zero value of a channel. Okay, so if you just declare a channel, by default, it's a nil channel. So let me show you a bit of the nil channel and what it does. So let's create a channel, and this channel will be of type string. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this channel, I'm going to decide that I want to make this channel a nil channel. So it's nil. Okay. And so a nil channel does not receive, does not write, does not read, does not write. Okay. That's the whole point. It's nil. So to demonstrate that, let's create a select statement. And I will have one case. And this case will simply be the result of reading from C1 and printing what is read. But of course, I just told you that nothing will be read or nothing will be written from a nil channel. Okay. Okay. So right away, what is it telling me? This value of C1 is never used. Okay. All right. Should use a single channel instead of select with a single case. Okay. So what this really means is, let's run it. It's a deadlock. And if you think about it, why is it a deadlock? Because the program never moves. Okay, it stalls. Why? Because select is blocking. Remember, select blocks for one of the channels, so one of the statements to become true. But C1 is a nil channel. So nothing will ever be written to C1. And so nothing will ever be read from C1. And so select will block forever. And because select blocks forever, the program blocks, which means it's a deadlock. All right. One use of nil, if a channel is nil, then we are assured that its statement will never execute. Okay. So for example, if I decide to create a second channel, C2, okay, and then I maybe create an anonymous Go routine, and it simply writes something. Oops, it writes something to C2 like hi. Okay, let's see what will happen. So I can have another case, MSG2. We will write C2, and then we will print what is provided to us, what is read. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Okay, well, we get high, right? So we no longer have a deadlock because even though C1 causes select to block, well, select won't block forever because it has C2 to look at too. And because C2 has something, we're able to execute that something. So all that this is telling me is if I assign nil to a channel, I know that that channel nothing is expected from that channel. Okay, so that's one way of sort of putting a channel aside and saying we don't need this channel, we're only going to focus on this one. Now, what happens if I add a default? Okay, and we know how default works, right? It basically will execute because select doesn't have to wait. All right, doesn't have to wait. So no channel is ready. All right, so if it's just a single, right, there's no loop. So this will only happen once. And so chances are it will always print the default, right? Because that's the quickest thing. That's the thing that always will be ready, right? It's just a statement, right? It's not a Go routine. And so it will always be ready. Okay, so that's the idea about a nil channel. If you use a nil channel with a select, then the select will block forever, and so you will have a deadlock. Now, to wrap up, you must remember that the whole point of select is to block some piece of your code. Okay, so in some Go code, you might just see something like this: select, open, close, parent. Okay, and that just means to block. Okay, to block. All right, so notice there are no cases inside. Select, open, close, curly brace will block. All right, so that's it for our discussion on the select statement. So again, you've learned about Go routines. You've learned about channels. Remember, channels is used to allow for communication between Go routines, to pass data back and forth between Go routines so they can synchronize. And so now I have introduced the idea of a select. All right. And so the select allows us to choose between different Go routines, between different channels, and to choose the one which is available first. All right. So select will simply choose the one that is available to be read from in our case. And of course, I showed you the nil channel and what that does to a channel. All right, so I'll see you in the next lesson where we will continue our discussion on concurrency. There's quite a bit more to learn about concurrency, and hopefully you are beginning to become comfortable with the terminology and how to put together a concurrent program. I'll see you in the next lesson.